I know it's been a minute, but I appreciate y'all waiting. I hope y'all like the new look and the new sounds. I'm trying to make sure this is spot on for y'all. Night show.
Lately I've been having long nights.
My guest today, nationally ranked pinball champion, former roadie and technician, all around good human, David. I hope y'all enjoy this one. It's a fun show. Night show. What's up, Playboy?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So today I got my man David, Oakland native.
That's right.
Dope ass cat, man. And we were just like rapping the other day, and then all of a sudden you were just talking about, oh yeah, I'm doing this whole pinball thing. And I was like, what? Bro, when you pulled that video, I was like, oh, this man's out here getting it.
When we had pinball to play, definitely playing it back home.
Oh,
it's a big thing back in the Bay Area.
No,
yeah.
I mean, I knew that there was still like some like larger like arcades that still kind of existed, but I didn't realize like it was like to that extent.
Yeah, we got a clubhouse back home. It's public, but it turns into a clubhouse at night, after hours party or whatever. We got about 60 machines in there. We got a pool table in the back, beer fridges. We got the dart boards, and we hang out till 4 or 5 in the morning on the weekends and do our thing. It's also the home to one of the most competitive leagues probably in the world, if definitely not in the United States. So
damn,
yeah, we get down back home.
Dude, so I mean, how'd you get into like especially the competitive aspect of it? I mean, it seems like you get a bunch of dudes together and you get an activity.
Yeah.
Eventually, competitions gonna start like coming up in it. But like, how did that whole thing like started? Like, what's the?
It started. I was living in Hollywood for a little bit, and we were talking about this the other day. If you ever watched that Kid Cudi video for Day and Night,
yep.
At the end of the video, he's in the arcade, and they got like the mirrored ceilings and all that, right?
Yeah.
And I used to live like a block away from that place, right? And I was in a relationship at the time. I was married at the time, and it was towards the end of the marriage. I needed a place to go. And
yeah.
Didn't want to just spend all my time in the bar, so I was like, "Well, I'm just." Oh,
is that a bad idea to spend time in the bar after a recent breakup?
Well, we weren't quite there yet, so it would have been even worse.
Oh, yeah. You definitely gonna make some decisions.
It was those trailing like last year of that. So I was like, so anyway, that arcade that's in that Kid Cudi video is right by my house,
right?
And I'm like, I'm just gonna start hanging out there. I found this Groupon. It's like $60 worth of tokens for $25, right? And made a hell of Groupon accounts and like rack up all these tokens and just hang out at this arcade all day, and started like taking all the high scores on all the machines. If you ever see a pinball machine, they got on the screen, it's got all this flashing messages like "Don't use drugs" and "AIDS is real" and yeah. Depending on the era,
AIDS is real. Like, we know this. Who doesn't know this?
Well, those early '90s machines, like when people started really getting aware of that became the. So when it went from like the Nancy Reagan like drugs are bad, then it went to like AIDS is real. But one of those messages that always flashes up is compete in local tournaments, like participate in local tournaments. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Oh shoot.
So yeah, I went down to this arcade in downtown LA and played in my first pinball tournament. I did pretty well against all these LA cats, and I was like, I was hooked. And so then when I moved back home, I went back to San Francisco. I knew about how big the scene was there, so I just started hanging out. Like my second day there, I met like some of my best friends now. This dude Russ, shout out Russ, what's up? And Shannon and Gene Wang and all these dudes. And just right off the bat, it was just like everybody's friends, right? So, I mean, besides the competitive aspect of pinball, it's really cool to be able to go, like I'm trying to say, I'm like not trying to go into bars and all that, but then like if I go hang out in the Mission District, or if I go downtown Oakland, or go hang out in the Haight or whatever it might be, I can go almost anywhere there's a game, and I'm gonna run into somebody I know, and then I got somebody you can hang out with. You got an activity there that you can relate to, and then it's just like you got friends everywhere. So even outside of just like needing to fill my my need for competitive things and my male testosterone need to hunt and kill and be the best at something.
Yeah.
It's more just cool to just like be able to go somewhere and like somebody you know's there, you know, and you can hang out. And then shout out to the Free Gold Watch crew.
Oh yeah,
right here.
there.
Over here. Got the Free Gold Watch crew. Want to buy a watch? Which is the arcade I was just telling you about. It's like, but it's a t-shirt printing company, but they got all the machines there too. And like, that's why I say after hours or even during hours, just everyone comes and hangs out. So you're just vibing, drinking beers and like cooling with the crew.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, more than just being competitive. It's the clique, man. It's like, it's a family.
I like that,
That's
man.
what we do.
I like that, man. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope. Plus, like, I mean, you know, that team dynamic too, because I know you said like you guys kind of like do that whole like compete against other like arcades and shit. Is it like, are y'all kind of like throwing down like this is y'all home turf? Like when y'all do.
Yeah. Well, there's two different. So you got the tournaments and then you got the leagues. And so you have the individual tournaments and the individual league, but we also have a team league. And yeah, so I'm captain of the Shop Boys, which is one of the two teams based at Free Gold Watch. And then pretty much every spot in San Francisco or Oakland that's got at least like 3 or 4 machines has got a team. And yeah, I mean, it's friendly. Like there's not a lot of shit talk or anything like that. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of hate. Everyone's pretty cool with each other. I'm sure there's like cats have been doing it a long time. Probably got their dynamics and all that. But overall, like it's a friendly vibe. But yeah, it gets like we definitely have some friendly banter and all that.
Shit sounds like fun, man.
Yep.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
So like, what's the techniques to like, how does someone like, I mean, obviously, you know, you keep, you know, do the repetitions, you put your hours in, you automatically,
Like anything.
you know, you're going to get better. Just like anything. But like, what's some like tips or tricks? Like if somebody wanted to like kind of start, like what's going to put them in the best position for like,
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, the most basic thing when you start playing, like you'll see these cats and they'll just be like hitting both the buttons, right? And you don't want to hit both buttons at the same time. You don't want both flippers going up like that. Kind of think of it like if you're boxing or something like that. Like you ain't gonna be going like that.
Yeah, no.
Like you got no power that way, and then you got no defense that way, right? So it's the same thing when you're playing pinball, like one flipper at a time. You know, that way you got something to defend with, and like the ball moves around.
Yeah.
So that's like rule number 1. Like if you're gonna go play a pinball machine, don't just be like clacking both of those flippers at the same time, dude. Yeah, that's bad technique. You don't want to be doing that. Someone's gonna know around you. I think one of the first. Everybody talks about like nudging the machine and tilting it and all that. Like there's definitely a technique to that, and like people out there, it's okay to do that. Like you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to push it a little bit.
Right.
These damn machines in Juno, they don't let you do that. Because they got that tilt bob, which is what makes the game actually like say like, no, you've done it too much. They're set really sensitive around here. But anyway, that's like something you'll start to learn. But like the first real like technique that most people should learn if you're going to play pinball is called, we call it a dead bounce, right? So people always ask, like one question I get a lot is like, well, what do you do when the ball's coming right down the middle? Kind of a separate subject, I guess. Then you want to move it a little bit, but another thing that people will do is like you got no control. If the ball's coming real fast, it's coming at your flipper, people will just like try to hit it right back. You don't know where you're hitting that ball.
Right.
That's not going anywhere. So what you learn to do, so it's coming at your left flipper, right? Like this. Just let it hit it. Don't flip at it. And then the angle of that flipper is going to let it just naturally bounce over to that right flipper.
Yeah.
Same thing on the other side, right? And then you can grab it. And then you got control of that ball.
Right.
So that's like the first thing, like I said, we teach you not to hit both buttons at the same time. Once you got that down, we'll teach you that dead bounce. We'll teach you to let the ball hit the flipper and then go right over to the next one.
Dead bounce.
And that's going to kill all that velocity and let you set up that next shot.
Dead bounce. That's kind of cool.
Yep.
Because then it's just kind of like an assist, like a pass.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. Okay. I get it.
And then you got total control when you go to set up that next shot.
Got you. Because you're going to be completely exposed if you got both those up, because then it's going to come back down, and depending on how the machine is working.
You just let it hit it without flipping at it, and it'll bounce right over.
Okay, I think I got it. I
Yeah.
mean, I ain't know. I'm gonna have to let you show me because I'm gonna be a complete novice going to these games, man. But it kind of sounds pretty fun, man. Like once all this stuff starts opening back up, man, like
We'll go to Bullwinkle's.
I am down.
They got them
Let's
two
go to
machines
Bull-
upstairs.
Oh, shoot, $5 pizzas. That's yeah, those cheap pizzas, man. That's what I'm really trying to go.
You wonder
down
how
there
I
for.
gained all this weight since I got up here, man. Well, you
Yo.
don't know me from back home. I used to be a slim cat.
Dog,
I used to be a slim cat before I came to Alaska.
this year has not helped either. Like
No.
it's hard being up here, like especially like all this food up here. Like, yeah, no,
And then
sideways.
I mean, I don't want to. I definitely don't want to. Like, I would never put the food down there. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
What's the name of that taqueria next to Foodland? The Marisol.
yeah.
Hella good. Like,
Yeah.
hella good. And then like I live right by the Island Pub too, so like I'm
Oh,
getting
that's
that all
too
the
easy.
time.
That's too easy.
But yeah, you know, back home, like another thing, I'm a really avid bicyclist. Like that's my car. You know, other than that, I drive Chevrolets. Sometimes I pull that Subaru out. You know, like
BMW is bike, metro, walk.
yeah, it's Muni back home. But yeah, I think they got Metro back where you're from,
DC,
right?
yeah, DC, Maryland. Yeah, that's the metro, man.
The
DMV,
Seattle kids, they
metro.
got the Metro too. But yeah, man, that's how I get around. So like, it's easy to like eat my eggs. I can like, I'll eat whatever if I want, man. I'm gonna eat 6 tacos. I don't even care.
Yeah, right. Especially as soon as you're like, all right, I'm back on my bike again. You know,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
them
putting
cardios
in my
out,
10
man.
miles a day.
Got them
So,
carbs out real quick, dude. This DMV, it made me think. Dog, I cannot believe we were sitting there like, you know, BS and whatever, and then we started talking about where we were from when we first met. And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, you like go-go?" I'm like, "Oh okay." We started talking. He was like, "Huckabucks," and I'm like, "Oh no!" We started bringing back all this DC go-go music that I hadn't heard in forever.
Let's go to work.
man. I was like, man, like all week, I've just been listening to like this XIB and CCB and like Backyard and Rare Essence and like and Chuck and like all the bands I used to listen to like in high school and college, and then once I joined the Coast Guard, I just kind of fell off from the scene, but like I still would listen to it. But man,
there's this CCB song I get stuck in my head all the time. It's like my fatty,
Yep.
my fatty,
Yep.
like always in my head, dude. I don't even know where it comes from.
I found that mixtape the last time I went home. I found that mixtape like when it first came out, when that first album, when they were doing that live performance. And I'm like, damn, man, I brought back memories. And when you started to say that, I was like, oh God, man. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I like the fact that you travel so much and that you know so many people from all over the place. It's kind of the same thing for me because like work and whatever. Like I'm traveling all the time.
Yeah.
So like finding somebody that's from California that's like, yo, I did go-go music. I'm like, keep talking.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're doing that real work out there, though.
Dog.
I did most of my 20s I spent working in the music industry,
Yeah.
one form or another. I worked in a lot of different drum shops across the country. I lived in Philadelphia for a bit.
Oh, man.
I've lived in LA 3 different times, Seattle, obviously, you know, back in the Bay. And but I worked for bands like on the road too, doing like the derogatory term would be as a roadie. We like to call ourselves technicians or production assistants or whatever. So I got to see a lot of the country doing that too. Got exposed to a lot of like the regional music, wherever it might have been. But yeah, anyway, but like with the go-go music, when I was living in LA, my second of my 3 times I've lived in LA, I used to run a Sam Ash store on Sunset Boulevard, right next to the big Guitar Center, if anybody knows Sunset. And I had this cat who was from PG County, this dude Kurt, a real good friend of mine. We're still good friends. That was a long time, like 2008, I'd say. And we're working in the drum shop, and you know he's from PG County, so he's the one who turned me on to the go-go music. And so he would sit around, and he would like show me how to play all the stuff on the congas and on the timbales, like all the beats. And he'd be like, "No man, it's like doom da doom da." Like show me doom da doom da doom da doom da doom da. And then we listened to Huckabucks, like that was like number one. CCB, Rare Essence, Northeast Groovers.
Yep.
And yeah, man, it's still just like it's earworms, dude. It's just earworms, and then like I just find myself it's like swinging my hips around a little bit. Like, where did that come from? Like I wish I could have like gone to some. I heard about these like pool parties and stuff that y'all had back there. I heard these stories and
out of line. It was growing up in that era, and like being in DC was kind of like that was our like kind of Freaknik, like in a sense, because you had like all the DC, like Maryland folks and a lot of folks in Virginia that were listening to like go-go music, and you had some folks who were in Maryland and some folks in DC that listened to Baltimore Club. And like the way I try to like relate it to other folks who don't know the music that well, it's like think of DC more like dance hall, and Baltimore Club music is more like soca.
Okay.
Like if you like, you're gonna be dancing all night long in a go-go, and you go like it's gonna be that same pattern, that same rhythm. But when it comes to like Baltimore Club music, it's I'm gonna rock, I'm gonna rock, I'm gonna rock, and you're just going, man, all night. Like you better tag out, dog, because you gonna be like an hour in, like doing a whole like P90X fucking workout. Like you done. I'm good, coach. How much time I got?
See, I gotta get into that Baltimore music for sure. But I think that was one of the cool things. And I mean, from I'm not from DC, so but to me, being a West Coast guy, I think Rare Essence is probably the group that you hear the most about, you see the most. But what made them the coolest to me was like they break that rhythm up. Sometimes it's still got the swing, swing, but like a song like Do You Know What Time It Is? It's like they really break it up and they mess with it. And I think that was like is the genius of a group like Rare Essence, is like that they can keep the swing, they can keep that same pattern kind of going, but like break it up enough to like, to me at least, being an outsider, make it even a little bit more interesting. Yeah. So
no, man, I agree with you on that. Especially like I think the one thing that kind of always kind of kept go-go music from exploding bigger is the fact that there wasn't enough bands, or there weren't enough bands that were kind of spreading their influence, like touching other genres, whereas like it's still go-go at its heart, but then it's still like still has like that rap influence, like my parents' generation. Like I could play, if I could be here and if I saw some folks that are like old school rap fans, and I put like Dougie Fresh on, and I'll put like 6 minutes, or I'll put like a go-go song that he's on with like a real heavy go-go beat. They'll be like, oh yeah, this is go-go music. Yeah, I remember this. And it's like, these cats are so talented, they could still do that, but it's just like they haven't, I guess, for this current generation, they haven't like tackled that challenge of how do we make this music completely like relatable, so it's like everybody can listen to it. Because if you just start playing like a go-go song like on a live stage, and I've seen it happen like multiple times, like folks who have never heard this music, they're just like, what? Like, I like it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah. What's happening right now?
But that's what makes it unique too. Like when we talk about the Bay Area, we talk about that hyphy thing that happens, especially in Oakland and Vallejo and whatnot. And it's a little more relatable because it sounds, it's like, it's definitely got its own sound kind of thing going on a lot. Yeah. But it's still hip hop. But like go-go's on its own, like it's on its own planet for sure. And I think that was like there's that one scene from The Wire. I remember when like he's talking to one of the cats is talking to this dude from DC. They're talking about go-go, and he's like, "Nah, man, he's not listening to the right bands," or something like that. But yeah, man, like I definitely grew an appreciation. So yeah, shout out to Kurt again. Shout out to my dude.
That was dope, man.
Getting me into the go-go music, teaching me how to play that
videos.
stuff.
Let him know you still rocking with it.
I'll let him know. Yeah, like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we started getting into that stuff for sure, though.
And now we're sitting here having a conversation about it, man. Music lives forever, man.
In Alaska.
In Alaska of all places, right?
Yeah. You don't get to Juneau on accident, that's for sure.
No. I mean, I kind of got here on that. I mean, they sent me here, and I was like, what? Alaska? It was always somewhere I wanted to, like, eventually go visit. Yeah. But I didn't know I was going to, like, oh, you're going to have to live here for probably 4 years, guys. So go buy you a nice jacket, a couple of them. I had nothing. I had my work boots and like some boots that I like wore casually for fashion purposes. Yeah. But I had no need for it. It's like I lived in California. I was in Guam before that. Only boots I had there was like for hiking up the mountains or like going in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in St. Croix before that. Same thing. And I was in Key West for that. Ain't no mountains there.
Nope.
Ain't no mountains in Key West. Find me a mountain in Florida, in South Florida.
I was reading that. I think the tallest peak in Florida is like 238 feet or something like that.
I believe it.
It's like up in the Panhandle somewhere.
Yeah. Everything else is like below sea level damn near. So yeah, especially when I was global warming shit.
And you'll read about it. They'll tell you, oh, it rains all the time. They got these mountains and all that. We were talking about a while ago. I went to high school here too, so I've got experience, but I don't get up here very much. You know, I'm 40 years old. I've probably been up here like 4 or 5 times since high school.
Oh dang!
And like usually just for 2-3 days. This is the longest I spent up here in a long time, and I hadn't spent a winter here since then.
Oof! I don't blame you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I gotta like pack for the rain. It's gonna get cold, but I still I had no concept like. And me being me, like I can't just like grab boots from anywhere, you know. I can't just grab like anything. Like it's gotta like look kind of good.
No, I get you.
So I like spend all this time, I'm like, no, I gotta get those Nike ACGs, dude. I gotta get like the proper ass ones. And then I'm like, no, but I'm not trying to spend $300 on a pair of shoes I'm only gonna wear for a few months. And then I found the perfect pair of ACGs, and I'm like, started snowing, and I'm like, man, this is not gonna cut it. This is not gonna cut it. And I'm like, this jacket's not gonna cut it. Like, nope. And then my vain ass out here like, oh, it's dirty. Oh, damn. But getting over that real quick.
I know, right? Say, man, you just better go ahead and just buy you some extra toughs or some muck boots, call it a day.
I don't know what I'll do with them when I get.
It's an investment though, man. It's so crazy. Like I'm the same way. I'm just out here like, yo, ain't about to get these shoes, and I'm just like, it's been raining for 38 days straight.
Mm-hmm. I see yours right here.
Stop, yo.
You got them right here.
They here, dog.
There they go.
I keep them tucked tight.
Man, that and pilot bread. That's like that's 2 things you don't see outside of Alaska.
No, man. You know when you see it, like it's like, oh, that person's definitely from Alaska or works there often, or maybe they're in the Pacific Northwest. But like that is actually extra steps are definitely oh, what part of Alaska you from?
Yeah.
It's one of those conversations. Oh, how did you know?
Like everybody's wedding pictures, they got them on and all that. Have you messed with that pilot bread stuff though, ever? You know what I'm talking about? The big crackers they got in the blue boxes like everywhere. I don't know what people put on them. You got to put something on it because it's like a round saltine kind of looking thing, but it's not salty like a saltine, and it's way thicker. That's like another Alaska thing that I don't know. I don't actually come to think of it. I don't know anybody who actually eats that stuff, but apparently they sell a lot of it here because you don't even see it in stores anywhere. We'll go to the grocery store after this. We'll get some pilot bread. Try to figure out what to do.
I'm with it. You know, I'll try it. I'm down. You know, I ain't scared.
Yeah. Some things you just don't see anywhere else.
Oh man,
bald eagles. See no bald eagles anywhere else.
Yo, these bald eagles out here are crazy. We were driving back and I saw a bald eagle take down like a seagull. It was, I don't know what it was doing, but I knew it wasn't where it was supposed to be at. I was like, oh, I'll never really see seagulls out here. But it wasn't having it. Came down with that one talent. I just saw them feet just like jet forward. You see him like they just out here in attack mode. Them feet just came down. I'm like, he gone. He done. He ain't going home. That's a wrap.
Last time I came up here for my cousin's wedding, my ex obviously came up with me too. She's like, I want to see a bald eagle. I'm like, well, we're going to the dump then. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you want to see a bald eagle? I'm gonna take you to the trash dump. That's where you see them.
You're definitely going to see them.
Yeah, like we start driving up and they're like all on the light poles and all that. And I'm like, see, there they are. They're all here. This is where you go to see bald eagles in the dump, man.
If it's like in the height of summer, you'll see them there. But then like, depending on how intense the fishing is, oh, you definitely gonna see them in the channel.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
them jokers.
You're out there. You probably see them all the time.
Them jokers, dog. They are out there heavy. They had a I think it's the only recorded fish strike by an airplane in the US.
Oh, I read about that.
Yeah, so it's like the eagle was coming. Eagle had the fish right in the talons, right? And it was going across the airport as like one of the Alaskan planes were about to take off. And they don't see it, right? Because it's a little bit higher than them. And as they start taking off, all of a sudden they just get a strike, right? So, oh, shoot. So then, they
fish
kind of like, they turn back and start doing the whole like, investigation of what happened. And it's a salmon like This big ass salmon like in the middle of the runway. Like, how the fuck did this thing get here?
I mean, they couldn't have seen it too, as far as the pilots were concerned. It's just like a fish
Right?
with
They
like,
like, oh, they hit a bird or something. And then, like, they're doing like the whole like, you know, report of it, and it's just like salmon strike. It's like, that's only in Alaska, dog.
man, yeah, only in Alaska. That's like,
Damn, halibut almost got us, dog.
I tell people all the time that the scariest airport descent has got to be coming into Juneau. I mean, Sitka obviously got it too, but like probably more likely to fly in the Juneau.
Yeah.
And it's like you're in those clouds, and all of a sudden you drop, especially if you're doing like
Oh, yeah.
from the approach from the north.
Oh yeah, if you're coming, yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, where did that mountain come from?
Right,
What
cause you
the hell?
literally
That
like
thing is
you're just in a cloud bank, and then as soon you descend, it's just like mountains, and you're just like you're in between
right
two
there.
mountains.
It's right
and
there.
it's just like, oh, okay, this is the part where I die.
And then you got to do that funky bank like
Yep.
into the airport. Yeah, it's like I've flown into a lot of airports, and San Francisco is no joke either, because like you look out the window and it's water. Oh, runway like just hits right there. So I think like down south, a lot of people would say that's one of them. But man, flying into Juneau, especially from that north approach, is like it's scary, man. Especially if you've never done it before, because that mountain pops up on you real quick.
Especially like you getting like those early morning flights, and you come in, it's kind of dark, and it's like, oh, it's so pretty outside, everything looks so cute, blah 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 blah. And then that fog comes around, and you'll see the clouds. The next thing you know, it's just like mountain.
Yep. Yeah, a tiny little airport, man.
With a lot of traffic, man. I'm surprised like how much like traffic comes in and out of here. But I mean, it's the capital of Alaska, so there's tons of folks coming in like regularly.
Yeah.
And there's so many places like Juneau's a good like jump off spot to like either like get the Yakutat, or if you want to go to Cake, or if you want to go to like some of the other smaller places, like this is just like the hub for it.
I assume you've flown in one of those little airplanes, like those 3-seater ones.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got a video I took one of these flights. I actually put it up on this thing too, so you can kind of check it out. It was so crazy, man. Like flying over the glaciers. We flew over Davidson Glacier. Let's see if I can find this thing. Yeah, we flew over Davidson Glacier on was it 4-seater?
No. I mean, yeah, you did, but no, thank you.
I was like, yeah, I told you. Oh,
say.
wait, no, I know exactly what you mean. Oh yeah, let me
That's
pull this up.
scary, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was like one of the most like intense moments of like me flying like ever, but it was completely worth it. It was I'm so glad that pilot was like, hey man, y'all wanna fly over Davidson Glacier? I'm like, yeah man, I'll check it out. Let's see if I can find that doggone cord.
One of the times I came up here, I drove from like Seattle to Skagway, and then I was trying to get back. I left our car in Skagway, and I was trying to get back there, and I missed the ferry, so I had to catch one of those little airplanes. And I was like, oh man, this is not fun. Like I had like the whole town's mail in the back, and it's just like me and all of this mail.
That's something else you got to get used to. Like you get on a plane, and it's just like Amazon packages, skateboards, snowboards, like a rocking chair. Like what the fuck is this?
The other funny thing about that trip, so, oh, dude, this is hilarious, right? Do you remember Daewoo's? You remember them cars, the Daewoo's, right? Yeah. They were like they were around for like the early 2000s, especially. They were like kind of everywhere. And they were cheap. You buy a new car for $8,000. That thing sucked though. Like that car would not switch gears unless the oil had warmed up.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, so you'd be driving
there.
first gear at like 40 miles an hour, and then once the oil started warming up, it's like boom. But we drove it to Skagway, and then we took the ferry and we pulled it into the parking lot, and this girl's working at the ferry terminal. She's like, wow, that's a really nice car. And I was like, yeah, I guess so.
I'll sell it to you for $10,000.
Yeah, just shut up. Just fly my ass back to Seattle from there. I just thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, yeah, it's real nice.
That's a really nice car. That's hilarious. Pretty funny.
Oh man.
I mean, they look cool.
Yeah, they looked all right. It was a nice shade of purple. It kind of had it looked like, I mean, it's Korean, so it looked like a Hyundai. I was gonna say like one of the fancy Hyundais, but it didn't run nearly as well as anything like that. So, yeah, that's what you got here.
Don't pop up.
Got to have the right dongle. Yeah, dongles on dongles.
Yeah, that's us going over.
So unfortunately, the audio was super high when we were recording this. I didn't have my headphones on, so my bad on this. But you'll see in this video, I'm flying over the town of Haines in Alaska, which is a little bit north of Juneau. And we are flying over what's known as Davidson Glacier. And what we're kind of just remarking on in this piece, in this little back and forth between me and David, is how crazy it is. Like, it looks like another planet. No, it looks like it's something out of Star Wars, how this just goes on for hundreds of miles. It's literally this, no vegetation, no trees, no animals. It's just this ice field. And it was an amazing flight, and we just happened to be flying out in an early morning flight, and it was a clear day, and everything was lined up. It wasn't super crazy windy, and it just worked out. So hope you guys enjoy it, and sorry about the little mix-up.
I can't build roads in and out of here.
Right? It's like, oh, why can't you guys just build a road?
Yeah, let's go. You go to Canada a lot. It's right there. Like,
Yeah,
it ain't really right there.
yeah, bro. That's what happens. You just got this whole mountain. We just need to cut through real quick.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no time.
ice fields ain't nothing.
Yeah,
Ain't no big
it's
deal.
just ice fields. It's just hundreds of miles of just ice and snow that just does not go away, like, ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just always there. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
is there some type of logistical issue that we might run into? I can't imagine what that might be.
It's hard for people to really get the concept of like exactly your place on Earth when you come up here sometime, or if they especially haven't been up here.
Oh, yeah. Which is totally understandable, but it is insanity.
You know it when you're here, though. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you, but like when I'm here, I know where I am. Like I know how far away from like and my like my mom's has been here for 25 years or whatever. She's like gets mad when like the Amazon packages don't arrive on time. She's like, and they're like, well, you're in a remote area. I've like, this was a conversation she had on the phone with the Amazon person. She's like, we're in the capital. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're still remote. Yeah. You're remote as hell. You see this place on a map.
Yeah. And what's the conversation people always have? Like, oh, Juneau is one of the only two capitals in the U.S. you have to get by plane and boat, because the other one is Honolulu.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, huh?
It,
I was just about to ask what the other one was.
Yeah, it's like it's here in Hawaii are the only two places where you can where the capitals are like that separated.
Only state I haven't been to is Hawaii. Slept, rank 49 other states.
Hawaii's dope, man. I really like Hawaii.
Yeah,
man.
I was about to say something bad about Montana, but then I remembered that two of my best friends were there. So I was thinking like, man, I'd be interested in like tell what my least favorite states was, and I was gonna say Montana, but then I remembered I shouldn't talk bad about Montana because
I'm trying to think of my least. Virginia.
Yeah,
always.
That's gotta be some like local rivalry thing.
It's I don't it doesn't no Virginia no. I remember I was in college, and at the time I think because it's the Commonwealth, it's not a state. At the time I think the governor had changed the law or whatever. It's been so long. I was going to George Mason University. I was driving back for like a summer class or something, and I get pulled over by this cop. And it was like one of those like really blind turns. So it was like the mileage went from like 45 to like 30, like kind of abruptly. So when he clocked me, he was like, "Oh, you're going 15 over." That sounds excessive, right? Yeah. Not when you're like going from a 45 to a 30. And he was like, because of the law, blah, 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 it's changed. It's like $1,000 per mile.
Get the heck
after 10 miles an hour.
They try to charge you 15 grand for that.
Dog. I'm like, huh? Me, broke ass college student.
Yeah.
Like happy when I was running a track. I was on a scholarship, but like it's not like I'm really getting fucking paid up front.
Shit.
So like, oh, are we having to meet 90 miles away from school? Yay, we get per diem. Like, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Slam by the peanut butter and jelly and banana. This motherfucker, I'm gonna pocket all the rest of this money. But not thankfully, there were some gunshots nearby.
Okay.
and
better things to do.
I looked up at him and I'm like, You gonna get that? It's kind of your job, man. I'll slow it down. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, just drive slow. I was like, okay, be safe, sir, please.
I was in South Carolina once. Like I said, I used to work with a lot of bands on the road.
Yeah.
And I was working with this one particular band. We had this old RV, this 1988 Bounder.
Ooh.
And we'd pull a trailer with it, right? And if that thing went up to 70 miles an hour, the whole thing would shake, right? Also didn't have air conditioning unless it was stopped, which really sucked when you had 7 or 8 people living in it. But that's another. Well, that could be the story too. But we could take this 2 ways.
Well, we got another show to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's just keep going.
Okay, so like I'm driving. It's late at night in South Carolina, right? And I was like going up. It wasn't like a hill, but it was like a little incline. And like this truck was going super slow, like 50 miles an hour or whatever. So I'm like getting the left lane, like probably got up to like 65, 67 miles an hour. Get past the truck. Pull back over and I see the cherries and berries behind me. Like, I'm like, God damn it. All right. Then. Cool. Well, no problem. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, we're not riding dirty. We're like, this is clean. Yeah. Like, you know, like church kids and all that I was torn with at the time and all that. So I was like, it's cool. And the cop comes up to the side. He's like, all right, good evening. He's like, do you know how fast you were going? I was like, 65 to 67. He's like, try 97. I'm like, 97? You see what I'm driving, right? He's like, I got you on the gun. And I'm like, what angle did you hit me from, man? Because there's no way I had this thing going 97. He's like, I was right behind you. And I'm like, and I'm not, you know, when I was growing up, we used to have this, my dad was a messenger, like a courier and all that. So we had this, on the back of the toilet, we had a fight your ticket. It was like some childhood reading that I had back in the day. So I'm like,
see, I was born for this.
Hey, I was groomed in
this, sir.
I've been waiting for this. You know, I'm waiting for this time. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be cool, but like at the same time, I'm like 97 and an 88 Bounder with a trailer. Come on, man. No.
He wants you to pay. He wants you to pay that ticket.
We saw the California. He saw the California plates in the trailer in South Carolina, right? And I'm like, man, when's the last time your radar gun got calibrated? He's like, recently. What you know about radar guns? He's like, are you certified? And I'm like, man, I know enough to know that I wasn't going 97 miles an hour in this RV. He's like everybody out. And I'm like, God damn it. So he's like, I'm going to bring the dogs out and this and that. And I'm like, bring the dogs, dude. And then like called the band's lawyer and all that and like trying to get all this advice. And he's like, well, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time, but like, watch your speed. I'm like, I don't have a choice, man. Like, I have to, like, this thing doesn't go fast, dude. It's falling apart.
Almost 100 miles an hour, you say.
In an RV, in a 1988 Bounder full of equipment.
Could that thing even go?
No. Like I said, if it actually got to 70, it was like a violent shake, like real violent.
Yeah, none of that.
Getting it up to 65 to get around the truck is impressive enough. Like, I probably took some heat for that, but...
And he out here talking about y'all trying to go 88 miles an hour. Go back in time.
Yeah. I'm going to go back in time before I cross the border into South Carolina. I'll tell you that much. I'm going to go right around this.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. South Carolina is one of the most progressive states. I can't finish.
Yeah, every time I think South Carolina, I'm just think the bastion of, you know, South Carolina and San Francisco is the bastions of progressive.
They're like sister cities. Yeah, they're sister cities, man.
Us in Columbia, man. We're like that. Cool architecture in that city, though.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's got beautiful.
Lot of good history there.
Yeah.
A lot of good food.
Yeah, I was in Savannah for a little bit. It's not too far from South Carolina. Which, like,
oh yeah, it's super close. It's, like years ago though, but yeah.
Like drinking that weird grain alcohol on the streets. Like they got the Everclear Slurpees and stuff like Vegas style.
Yes, but I don't remember.
I don't
if that makes sense.
I remember picking my friend up underneath a car.
That seems like the appropriate ending to a night. Yeah. It's like, oh, where's Fred at? It's like, oh, underneath the car. All right. Well, he's on Everclear joints, right? Oh, okay. Man. No, you good. You good. That makes sense.
I got another good road story for you. I'll tell.
Oh man,
it might take a second. So hopefully you got enough. Hopefully you got enough tape.
We got 16 hours on that hard drive, so we solid. I cleared it out before we started.
Man, speaking of bastions of progressive politics,
okay,
I was with a band, the same band. We were in Oklahoma, and so
that's so wild. That is a state I need to research. Yeah, it's so wild.
Probably don't get a lot of Coast Guard.
No, they don't.
No, I wouldn't think. Probably not a lot. There's not a lot.
There
of coast
used to be. We used to have. There was an explosive handling school there.
Okay.
But then they moved it. But there used to be a whole Coast Guard contingency there. So it was used to flow in. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, it's not known for being a coastal state. So yeah, not so much presence.
I'll try not to. I won't cliff note this story too much. I'll try to get you the full experience. So I'll start with the day before the actual story starts, which was crazy enough in its own right. So like the band I'm working with, they got a TV spot in the morning on Good Day Tulsa. They got a radio spot in the afternoon in Oklahoma City, and then we got to get back to Tulsa for a show the next day. Right?
Okay.
Do the TV spot, no problem. Drive up to Oklahoma City, we do that, no problem. Start coming back to Tulsa, we're running out of gas, and it's not like we had a ton of money, so we're like just pushing it all the way down to E in this big ass RV that barely, the terrible gas mileage, right?
That's going, 97 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, 97, because we could, because we're wild and crazy kids.
Breaking the law, man. I hear you.
So like I'm tripping out, like we're gonna run out of gas, and like, we get to this gas station on fumes, right? And I have this thing like, we ain't making much money, but like, and most of the time you're just eating in gas stations anyway, right? So like, 24-year-old me is like, my healthy meal when I go to a gas station is like orange juice and sunflower seeds, but the ones that are already kerneled, like the shellless ones.
Okay.
So I can just slam them. Like, it's
just a little less salt.
Yeah.
I got you.
A little bit, just as salty. Like, I'm gonna get all those healthy nut oils, and it's like packed with protein and all that. And then the orange juice for the vitamin C. That's my gas station meal, right?
Sir, this is not a farmer's market.
No, definitely not. That's the other. I only ate Subway when I was out there. These cats would go to these gas stations, and it's like McDonald's and all that. And I'm like, Subway, I'm just gonna get that veggie sandwich. But so I'm at this gas station. I'm getting my sunflower seeds. I'm getting my orange juice. This old lady comes up, and she's like, what are you kids doing? I'm like, oh, we're in a band. We're a touring band, and what kind of music you play? And normally when I would get that question, I would always tell, especially in the Midwest, I'd always tell people Christian rock. This time I actually was like a Christian, like a kind of a crossover Christian rock band. They didn't like have the Christian themed lyrics, but they were like I said, they were good kids. Yeah. They definitely were good kids and all that. I'm like, but no, Christian rock, always, because I don't want to. Oh yeah, you're good. Go ahead and have fun. So I told her that, and she's like, oh, I knew Jesus told me that I had to get out of bed today for a reason. She's like, I've been stuck in this hospital, haven't been able to walk in 2 weeks. And like, Jesus came down today, like just tonight, and said I had to come to this gas station. And now I know why. And I was like, okay. She's like, can I pray with you guys? Oh. I was like, yeah, sure. I'm fine. Great. Yeah, no problem. I got no problem with that. I'm sure these kids will be into it. So like I walk out, and she's like following me around the store, and she follows me outside, and like everyone's kind of gathered around, and I'm like kind of in the semicircle just talking, and she's like standing there just like, everyone's kind of looking at me, and I'm like, oh, this is, I forget her name. I wish I would remember. But I'm like, this is so-and-so, and she wanted to say a prayer with us. And they were just like, yeah, sure, great, no problem. And man, this lady gave like the most powerful sermon I've ever heard in my life. Like, she's going off and like just booming. Like it's coming from like diaphragm. Wow. It's coming from down here. Yeah. And like we all walked out of that like, just silent. Like it's just silence in the RV the rest of the night, right? And then like find a Home Depot parking lot to sleep in because got no money for hotels. Right. Got the RV anyway.
That's what you got the RV for.
Crazy ass storm the whole night. We're playing Tiger Woods 04. And like we had Xbox in there. Tiger Woods 04 was the best one.
Got to.
And man, so the next day is a Saturday, and like the story starts taking some weird turns here. So like early in the morning, like the RV doesn't start. It's dead in the water, right? So we're like trying to fix it, and this dude comes up to me. He's like, hey, I like basically had these stolen paintbrushes he was trying to return, and like, but he couldn't do it because he didn't have an ID. And he's like, I'll split the money with you. I was like, sure, I'll go like return your stolen paintbrushes, whatever. Here's your gift card. And we're like calling everybody we could at the same time, trying to find a place that was open that could fix the RV. And not only that, but we got to find a place, someone that will tow it. And it's got a trailer on the back, which like most towing companies won't touch anything with the trailer, right? There was another terrible story about towing that RV with the trailer. Yeah. Anyway, so it's just all coming back now. So finally, we like find this tow truck driver. He's like, "Yeah, I'll tow you," and I got a guy. He's like, he can fix you right up. So I was like, "Cool. Well, can you like drop some of us with the trailer off at the venue, and then like take the rest of the guys with the RV to the shop, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So we get to the venue, drop the trailer. I stay with the trailer with a couple other people, right? And like half people go with the RV, half of us stay there. At this venue in Tulsa, and it's like, you ever seen that movie SLC Punk?
I know, but I don't remember it that
Okay,
well.
it's like these kids that are hanging out here. It's like early in the day. They're crazy. They're like fighting and like
Still in
I
Oklahoma.
swear to God, they were gonna be stabbing each other and
Oklahoma, so,
skateboarding
okay.
and like drinking like just like crazy. And I'm like, man, it's like noon. We got a long night here. And so like we're just all like, y'all crazy. Okay, but like I ain't got nothing to do with hang out with you. And like meanwhile, these other dudes are out with the RV and like they get it inside of the place to fix it, and like the guy's like, yeah, I can get to you like tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday or something like that. And they're like, whoa, we're supposed to get it. You said you could fix it now. And they're like, he's like, yeah, I'll get to you when I get to you. And so they start working on the RV and they get it working.
Oh,
Right.
good.
And so they like go up to the guy and they're like, hey, appreciate your time and your space and all that. We actually got our RV working on our own. So like, if you could just let us go, that'd be great. And he's like, no, you got to pay me for my time. It's like $250. They're like, you didn't really do anything. So like, if you could just let us go. And he's like, no, you got to pay me for my time. And so like, eventually the cops get called.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, no, you got to pay him for his time. Like, what the hell? Okay, fine. And so like the band's lawyer was the good lawyers, Marilyn Manson lawyer,
Oh, shoot.
Red Hot Chili Peppers lawyer, right? So they call the lawyer up and they're like trying to fix this all up. The lawyer's on the phone with the guy from the shop, but he thinks it's like some kid just messing with him or something like that. Like, no, dude, you're talking to like pretty important entertainment industry lawyer. And so now the dude's mad and he locks him into the shop, right? And he like had the story retold to me recently. So the not only locked him in, but like pulled this Buick up in front of the gate. So like
false
they couldn't
imprisonment.
get out. So they're like, we're on the phone the whole time. And like, we're getting all this information relayed to us. And like all the punk rock kids around us are hearing it too. They're like, nah, man, we'll break them out. F that, dude. Like, what do you need? And we're just like, no, that's cool. It's cool, baby. That's cool. Like, we ain't got no problems here yet.
Like, point us in a direction and that's where we'll rage.
So now this dude comes around, and I saw him later, like at the end of the story, I actually saw this dude. So like when I describe him the way they describe him, it's true. He was like a 6'7" Hulk Hogan, but like totally bald. So kind of like a mix of Steve Wilkos and Hulk Hogan. Okay. Right. And like, apparently he's walking around the yard with a hatchet. Right. And like comes up on the RV and he's like talking to the dudes. He's like this hatchet is the best hatchet. Like I can cut down things you can cut with the big axe with this hatchet. Right. And like just showing off this hatchet, like, and they're like, cool. And he's like, wait, what are you kids doing here? We're closed. And he's like, oh, well, your boss was like supposed to let us out right now. We called him and he's supposed to be like, we can't get a hold of him. And like just totally BSing the guy, right? And he's like, oh, I'll get you out, no problem. So he like apparently like rigs his truck up to the Buick with like some chains and like pulls the Buick away and like lets them out, right? And so they're like they get out and like we go they come back and they're like, you know, we're getting all the stories and all that, like, man, this dude with this hatchet just like towed this Buick with his pickup truck and like totally let us out of the venue, like, or totally let us out of the yard. And like we got to and like they got there just in time to play the show. Rockin' Show is like the best show they'd ever played that I've been with them.
Oh,
for sure. And like it was a weird mix of music too, because it was like all the punk rock kids and all these punk rock bands, and then this like kind of like mid 2000s like soft emo pop like alternative
like
band.
Yellow Card.
Yeah. We used to hang with those dudes actually.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. I remember.
Yellow Card.
I remember very specifically being in Jersey and like LP, their drummer, coming on, just like barging into our RV like half naked with a snake hanging around him, stuff like that.
Oh, that escalated
That
quick.
dude's a cool ass dude. I like him. That's my kind of guy. So like we get done playing the show, and like I'm trying to hook the trailer back up to the RV, like behind the venue, right? Mm-hmm. And then so it's me and this other dude, Justin, who both of us had been at the venue the whole day. So he like this dude didn't know who we were, but he comes rolling up like Steve Hogan. Hulk Wilkos comes rolling up in his pickup truck and like pulls up right in front of the RV, right? And Justin's in the driver's seat and I'm like stomping on this trailer hitch, like trying to get the thing to go on the ball, right? He pulls up to the RV and he gets out and he walks up to the front of the RV and he's like looking at me in the back and he's looking at Justin. He's like, I'm looking for some kids that got an RV. It looks just like yours. like, 25, 30 feet apart, but I could hear it all. And I kind of look up. I could see him looking back at me, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I need you to move your pickup truck. And like, I got the hitch on right then. He's like, well, we need you to move your pickup truck so we can get out of here. So the dude like pulls his pickup truck out of the way. And the RV takes off, and like everybody else is inside of it, me, right? And I'm just like, shit. Like, and then like I guess he figured it out finally. He must have called his boss, and boss, I don't know what exactly happened, but like he figured it out. They figured it out. They're like, nope, that was the RV you were obviously looking for.
I'm looking for this exact RV
with California plates,
with California tags on it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
A bunch of kids with dumb hair. Like the whole 2000s, like swooped bangs.
Oh,
like,
man.
with feathered tops and all that.
All my boys asking me, hey, man, can I borrow your sporting wave? For what? What do you need sporting wave for, my guy? What are you about to do with this?
So now it's just me by myself. And like I run back into the venue. I'm hiding in the bathroom, dude. Like hiding in the bathroom, like peeking out. And like a dude's just standing at the door, and like the security guards, like he knows the whole story. Yeah. Everybody there knew what was happening. And like I'm just like, this dude needs to move the fuck out of the way, man. And then I'm like, where did that RV go? Dude, I'm stuck in Tulsa. It sucks. And I close the door, and then I open it again, and like the dude's gone, right? And so I like run out to the front, and like, dude, like Adventures of Babysitting, man. The RV comes like swinging around the corner, and like punk rock caravan, like all these kids in their cars like surrounded the RV, and they're like, yo, get in. And like the cars in front of us, they had like a PA system on their car, and they're just like screaming and talking shit the whole time to this dude in it. And like, yeah. And then we went to the super raging party at the end of the night. And that's basically the story. We got back to California. The band was from Temecula. We got back to Temecula, and ended up paying the dude like $100 or something like that. And the dude's like, yeah, you got us pretty good. Like, yeah, well, kind of did, didn't we? So I don't know. That's one of my favorite road stories for sure. Those two, especially when it came to that RV, were man, yeah, and all them. Like, I wish I had kept track of those kids in Tulsa, but that was fun. That was a fun story, and it was a fun night for sure. I'm miss being in my mid-20s sometimes. Yeah,
right. That's where all the fun. As long as you escape it and you make it out of your early 20s,
you don't get cut.
As long as you make it out, dog, those are good days.
I never found out if he had the hatchet with him when he came to the venue, though, and I'm glad I never found out if he had the hatchet, because getting chopped up by some huge
6'7" dude. Tulsan man.
Yeah, some Okie from, with a hatchet was like not the way I wanted to go. Actually, might not have been the worst way to go out. I mean, if we're getting
it's
dark,
up there, getting chopped off. It could have been worse, man. You could have had that Twisted Tea on him.
Oh yeah, the sound of that when that dude got hit, and it just
let it ring. I'm like, even like the original video, and I watched it, I was like, oh shit,
yeah.
I busted that thing.
My mom watching it. My mom was watching it, and she was like, "I do deserve that."
It's like, dang, that's the sound of justice.
Yeah,
I never heard a can pop like that in my entire life.
I mean, we've all thought about it. I mean, like, not like we're gonna actually do it, but like, man, what happens if you get hit with like a glass bottle or a can or something like that?
And it's like, pow.
Yeah.
Nah, never.
No.
All that violence.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at you like, what's the matter with you? Too much?
Man, no. I've been in some unfortunate bar fights, but never got busted with a glass or a can or anything like that.
That glass bottle shenanigans. I think that's why a lot of bars don't even bring those out, just in case somebody got any rage in them.
Yeah, half the bars, most bars in California can't even have darts with steel tips on it.
Oh,
so.
yeah, no.
I was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho once.
I want to go there, man.
Yeah. Northern Idaho.
Yeah.
You know about Northern Idaho?
I've heard stories.
Yeah, okay. If you heard the stories.
Well, everywhere is racist, so I'm cool.
Yeah, but that's like, they got the racist headquarters there. So
I know.
Like the legitimate. Like,
it was some story about like an FBI agents that were trying to do a sting on, it was like this white supremacist or like Klan rally and shit. And they couldn't get on the property because it was private. And like it was like the state and local and like the feds. and they didn't have enough probable cause to go on there. And I think it was like one of the women that was there. I'm not sure if like she didn't use her turn signal, or like she blew a stop sign, or like she had a brake light out. It was something enough for them to be able to like pull her over, and then she like sped up to evade them. And it was just like, oh, cool.
She went on the property.
Yeah, keep going on the properties.
Man, I got another good friend from Coeur d'Alene, and I made a few trips out there, which always ends up crazy. But like most of the people I hang out with, and this is no exception, end up being like, you know, like the skaters and the punk rock types, and like a town like that, they really stand out. And so like something happened. I think one of the dudes was wearing like some bondage pants or something like that, you know, something real punk rock with the mohawk, and like all the yokels were like giving him shit about it. So then the whole place just erupts into this big, huge bar fight, and I'm just there like trying to mac on some country girls or whatever, just like, what the fuck? All my friends are fighting.
I was like, oh, I like your accent. Where are you from?
Yeah, exactly. And but like I remember I walked outside, and like I always wear like my I think you can say like I wear my flannel shirts either like all the way buttoned up, or like just the top button.
Just the top, yeah.
Just the top, like Suicidal Tendency style, right? And I remember like especially that particular night I just had the top one done with the white shirt and all that. And anyway, so like I get outside, and I'm like obviously with the not the like country boy crew. This big huge dude with no shirt on just sees me, and he comes chasing after me. He's like, "Rah!" And I'm just like, nope. I'm like backpedaling, and I tripped over the curb. Dude, I sprained my ankle. It was busted up for a month, and the dude just kind of like went right. He didn't like stomp on me or anything. He just kind of kept running past me and like found someone else to fight. And
oh no, this guy's down. I'm looking for a different target.
Yeah, and then like I remember I showed my girlfriend at the time. I showed her how to use a butterfly knife, and like she had it in her purse, and like we're like walking through Coeur d'Alene. I'm like, give me the fucking knife. She's like, no. I'm like, give me the knife. She's like, no. And they like found some random person's like porch to chill on, like sitting there, and they're like, you know, they're like the swinging like chair and all that. We're all just sitting there like.
On some Mayberry shit, just trying to blend in as much as possible.
Yeah.
Keep blending up.
Definitely weren't in that big huge bar fight that just happened.
Jeez.
Man, yeah. Crazy times, man. Seen a lot of the country. Had a lot of cool things take me around here.
Yeah. I don't think people who haven't like really traveled outside, well, even outside of their state or their city or their county or whatever, it's like America is a wild nation. Like the terrain in North America is crazy. I know people are like, oh, you can go to all these places in the tropics and this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, but that's all you have. Like, well, you have deserts, you have extreme heat and temperatures, and you have like Alaska, where it's like, oh, you can go to Fairbanks and it'll be -60.
No,
right?
No.
And then you have like. You got the middle of the country, or like a little bit like in the Pacific Northwest, where it's just like, oh, it's pretty much as a rainforest. It's just like in a kind of temperate rainforest zone. And you got the mid-Atlantic, so you have like the extreme of kind of like all those things. Then you kind of get to the middle of the country, and it's like, oh yeah, we have tornadoes and fires here.
Now earthquakes.
And earthquakes, fracking. Correlation is not causation. What's that?
You said it, not me. You got a government job, man. You have
documentation. That's the issue. It's the documentation. Especially like in Oklahoma. It's like they're talking about, oh, you have like historically and they have like, oh, we might have like a 2.0 max 4, but it's like every 50 to 75 or 100 years, and now you're having 100 in a year.
Yeah,
and it happens like as you start fracking.
Well, cigarettes don't cause cancer either, so
no, they don't.
No,
and the same people who told us that lead in fuel doesn't affect anyone. It's literally the same damn law firm.
Asbestos? No, it's
asbestos is good for you.
You get on those military boats. I know that was a big thing. Right?
Oh,
they
yeah,
had asbestos
man.
on like I would assume. I'd heard a lot about Navy boats. I would assume Coast Guard boats too.
Same. My first boat. That's on the bad. That's on the no list because it was built in like the 80s. So it's got like, oh, it's like, make sure you put this in your folder for your medical file when you go to the VA. All right, which hopefully the VA will not screw it up totally.
Yeah, the bald eagles definitely didn't die down south because of DDT.
No,
no,
none of that. None of those birds got taken out in Guam or any of those other places from DDT. Mostly from all the brown tree snakes.
Yeah, gotta be.
It's like, that's what happened.
311 never happened. Those towers never went down. There was no beautiful disaster. I'm done with the 311 puns.
Oh my God. Oh, and was it Investigate 311?
Yeah.
Was the shit?
Dude.
I haven't heard that in a minute, man.
No cap. I've seen that band probably 40 times.
Damn.
Actually, before the shutdown,
Yeah.
I was in Vegas for 311 Day, which was like this insane 3-day concert that they put on. And like, I'm just watching Vegas shut down real slowly around us. Post Malone was playing at the same time, canceling his concerts, like Celine Dion, all that stuff. Like everyone's canceling their shows. Like one day I go down to the casino, like the restaurant, like where we were staying and get breakfast, and like it's a normal restaurant. And then the next day it's like, they're like bringing sugar and everything and ramekins. I'm like the tables are empty, and I'm like, where did the sugar go? And that was the last concert, like the last real concert that had probably happened across the country. Because I'm hearing stories back home. That's when they were shutting down, like the Warriors, like the arena and all that. They're like, no, and the schools and all that. Like, nope, none of this is happening. But like, somehow that 3-day concert happened. It was crazy. And I got back to Oakland, and was on the weekend right before that Monday shutdown. And I went to the Ghost Town Brewery, playing pinball, drinking beers. My wallet got stolen that night. And then the next day, like they shut everything down, and then I lost my job, which was fine. I hated that job, but
I was like, oh man.
But I had
no.
But at least I had this like week, like the whole thing was like I had this week-long blowout in Vegas.
Yeah.
Right before everything happened. So like I definitely got it all out of me. I was pretty damn hard for a week.
Damn,
5 days,
man.
whatever it was.
It's like, oh, that's fine. I didn't want to show up anyway because I'm still trying to recover.
Then I had to go through like the first 2 months of quarantine with no ID, which was, I guess, okay. It wasn't too big of a deal, but like, well, you got to go to the DMV to get your ID. I'm like, well, DMV's closed, man.
Like, oh yeah, that's normally what I would do, except there's a damn pandemic coming on.
Really need it.
So if you could just send me the file with my face on it in the mail, because you can do that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll thumbprint and retina scan me somehow. Whatever's good. I got this.
That was clever.
Yeah, I can get witnesses. I got some crazy roommates, so. I got some
Archie Bunker. Come on, man. You know better than that. This is an actual official document.
Yeah. And my one roommate, man, he's like, he probably hear this, so I won't say nothing too bad about him.
And you will hear this.
He's a grown ass man, but he's like a free spirit, right? He's like, he's got an engineering degree, but he don't work. He's like hasn't had to work in a long time. Like he just rides BMX bikes everywhere. It's like that's what he does his whole life. Just rides. He goes like Slab City down in California. Oh man, that's a whole nother story. The Salton Sea.
Yes. Yeah.
So Slab City is like where they got now Jesus and all that. It's like where it's like some extreme living there. It's like camp living. It's like cats just like have their RVs out there, and like it's real wild. It's real radical, right? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of artists, a lot of burnouts, like, but they've just made this community in this place called Slab City. Used to be this like military facility of some sort. So he spends a lot of time down there, like helping them build their skate parks up and all that, and riding his BMX bikes. But like I remember, dude, we were having some real serious conversations. I got 4 or 5 people living in the house. Like, no, we're all stuck in the house. He's like, well, I just want to go to the skate park and like hang out with my bros. We're like, no skate park. He's like, no skate park. And I'm like, no, dude, no skate park. I can't go to the pinball arcades. Like, my other roommates can't do their kinky shit. Like, you can't be going to the skate park. So he took off for like 3 months, and he was gone. Like, fine, just be gone. That's not a big deal. Whatever, you're gonna do your thing. Like, I can't tell you what to do. So I rented a pinball machine because I couldn't play pinball. Yeah. So I called up one of my friends who's runs a route, like operates games all over, and I was like, I'll hook you up for a couple $100 a month. Fine, not a big deal. And like I told my roommates, and I was like, no, this is fait accompli. Like, this game is coming. Like, I'm not asking for permission. Like, it's coming in a few hours. Where are we gonna put it? So like, stick it in Carlos's room. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, stick it in Carlos's room.
When he's not there, right?
He's not there. So like, yeah, I had a pinball game in Carlos's room for like a couple months. And like I knew it was gonna happen. But like one day he just calls us and he's like, "I'll be home in a few hours." I'm like, "Okay." And then like hang up the phone and like, "What are we gonna do?" like we gotta get the pinball game out of there. So like we had this busted ass old piano in the living room that nobody wanted to move, but like now we had motivation to move it. So we're like, let's drag this big ass piano out on the street. And I'm like trying to call like the refuse company, like, "You got large pickup?" They're like, "Not till July." It's April. I'm like, "Come on."
July?
Or like June or whatever it was. I'm like, "Yeah." Like I'm like, "Damn it." So then we got this piano sitting out front, and like Carlos comes home and like, "No, there was never a pinball game in your room." Then we had to deal with the piano, like being in front of our house. Actually ended up being a pretty cool experience with the piano in front of the house though, because like we got some talented cats in the neighborhood in Oakland and all that. And
that sounds like an invitation to have like a bunch of like super talented people just come by, stop, and just start playing.
Which is exactly
that
what it ended up being.
Who out there playing?
Yeah, like my two neighbors, like you know, like my neighbor who lives to the right of me, he's like an old longshoreman cat. He's about ready to retire. And he'd go out there and just be playing all these old soul songs. And then like my other neighbor, John, and lives in the same complex with me, he'd go out there and be playing like a lot more like this modern kind of R&B stuff. But they would just like go back and forth playing piano. And it was cool as shit. And they'd be doing it like all the way up until like nightfall.
Dude, that sounds like some dope pandemic type stuff to do. Like,
yeah, it was fun. Now it's in the back of my house. Neighbors. Like somebody grabbed it. We got like this complex with like 4 houses, 3 illegal houses, and 1 legit house. So one of the houses that shouldn't be there, like the lady grabbed it and like started potting plants in it or something like that. Man,
that is some California ass.
Yeah, man, that's Bay Area in a nutshell right there. I miss home, man, sometimes, but I'm not looking forward to going home right now for sure. Like, I'm not trying to go home to a lockdown.
Lockdown, man. Yeah, like this is the place to be right now. Because I mean, it's cold, it's dark. You know, the sun isn't our friend right now. It's away.
Yeah. Until
basically 3 months from now in March, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, my dad only lives a couple miles away from me. I was talking to him on Christmas. He's like, "How is it up there?" I'm like, "Pops, it's like nothing happened."
Yeah,
it's like people wear masks and all that, but like you would never guess there was a pandemic. That's for sure. Yeah, people are wilding out still.
You know, the city always is very proactive with what they're doing. So like you see the numbers like every day, and it was like there's 9 active cases. And then somebody will completely misinterpret, like, "We have 9 more cases." Like, no, there's 9 active cases. Yeah. They're tracking 9 cases. Yep. There's no cases. Like, I remember when all this like first started up, it was just like Alaska had like 2 cases. And like everything's kind of on shutdown, so everybody be safe. I'm like, okay. Are there any? It's like 4 months in. It like still hadn't. I think it was like, don't quote me. It's like 4 months in. It's like, yeah, we haven't had anything yet. Like, we're still waiting.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, well, the test is not here." And now, like, the more we start to like look back and like see like what's going on, like they're like, "Oh, you know, there's active cases probably from October." So I'm like, okay, so you're going back. People probably been spreading this thing around for like basically 6 months until like March kicked in, and like everybody was like, "All right, we're shutting shit down."
It was no joke getting into. I mean, I had to go through some paperwork to get into Juneau. I remember just spent a couple of days in Seattle with some old friends of mine and got tested there. And like, I had to go like online and fill out this whole big questionnaire and like send them my test and all that. So it's, I mean, it's ice. It's not like there's a road in it like we talked about. It's not like you can drive in here.
No.
It's not like there's trucks coming in and out of here. Like,
no.
Probably the same barge operator never leaves. The only person who comes in and out of town right now.
I see the same guys working at AML like every day. Like, it's not a lot of traffic coming in here. It's the capital of Alaska, but like there's not like there's tons of people coming to and fro. And even like if you go out to like to the grocery store, you see the same people.
Yep.
Especially if you go during the same times of day, like you see the same people. It's like it's kind of like the 90s.
Man,
in a small town.
I came up because I'm trying to finish. I'm graduating in 2 weeks from school from this coding boot camp, and so I was like, no, I'm gonna go spend some time. You know, my mom's here. I'm gonna go spend some time with my mom.
Yep.
And so she lives on the other side of Douglas, like downtown and all that. And I got this room I've turned into my office. Like one night, it was the weirdest thing. Like, I see the barge rolling every night, and like one particular night, I look over and there's a house on the barge.
Oh yeah,
like a full-on house. And I was like, what is that? Like that's a house. That's someone's house on the barge.
Yo, it's so trippy. Like I love. That's one thing I love about being in the Coast Guard. You always see like some wild stuff. I've seen ships shipping ships, and
shipping ships.
shipping ships.
Shipping.
So you have like a big flat deck barge.
This Inception. We need to go deeper.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's some Nolan type shit. Christopher Nolan type shit. It's gonna fold inside of itself, dog.
We need to go deeper. You're talking about dreams.
So it's like these like semi-submersible like ships, and it's basically like a flat deck, and it just has like these huge ass like basically of the same ship, and then on top of them it's like even smaller like contingencies of boats. So it sinks itself to let the rest of the boats like float, and a tug will like pull them out, and then it like continues the pattern until you get the initial ships off of it. They don't do that often, but when you see it, it's just like this is the most insane shit I've ever seen.
Shipping. Let me make sure I have my ships right here.
Don't break your brain, dog. I've done it multiple times. I broke my brain trying to think about this.
Broken, man. Like I said, I'm going through school right now. I'm like 2 weeks from
Oh
graduation.
yeah, man. Especially your coding shit, man. That's next level.
It is straight up busted, man. It was so well organized, this school, until the last few weeks, and now it's just like Lord of the Flies in that place, dude. It's like it's all online, so it's like online Lord of the Flies, basically.
Oh my god!
I made a I was telling you, I recreated SoundCloud though. I'm just about done with it.
That's dope.
Which is straight like from scratch, but like barely any reference other than my school materials.
Yeah.
And I had my friends all check that out, and they all liked it so far. And now I'm making an app for buskers, for like outdoor musicians. So I tell you about that. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. So like, I know a lot of cats that do that stuff, and like I see people doing it all the time, and I'm like, I had to come up with this idea in an hour, basically. And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna put you in a group. Like, come up with an app idea in an hour." I'm like, what the hell? Come on, man. It's like not enough time.
Say what?
We just got done with this other huge project too. So like, we're all sitting in our Zoom room, like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go to the bathroom though. Like, so I go to the bathroom, which is where all good ideas come.
Yep, you're right. And
I was like, I started thinking about like this cat who hangs out on 4th and Market in San Francisco and like plays drums and sings all the time. And I'm like, man, but sometimes there's other people there, but like most of the time this dude holds it down. I'm like, how does that dude know like when to hold that spot down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I'm gonna make a map that like people can create their busking spots on.
Yeah.
Right. And they can like put spots on the map, and then they can check in and out of it. Right. And so like if other people who would like play music or dance or like you know like the dudes who paint themselves all silver and money.
All the street performers.
Yeah. We got like the famous Bushman in San Francisco who like hides behind the bushes and scares people, and then they give him money for some reason. I never understand that. He has also never done it to me. So yeah,
you feel a little left out?
Yeah, kind of. Dude. Weird things happen to me back home that definitely don't happen to other people, but they only happen to me when people from out of town aren't there. It's like night and day. It's like if I don't go to Fisherman's Wharf too often, but sometimes I go down there because they got like the In and Out down there. They got 2 lid stores that block from each other. Like figure that out.
Like Starbucks, like what?
Probably. Yeah, they got
some Starbucks shit.
Yeah. But like if I go to Fisherman's Wharf by myself, I know that I'm gonna get hit up by some European tourist trying to buy drugs. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it no fail. Like it happens every time I go down there. Yeah, probably. But if I go down there with people that are like from out of town, I don't know how people know it, but then it's the hustle. It's like the Bushman and like, you know, like t-shirt vendors and all that. But I walk by myself, I don't get any of that. And it's the same thing. Like if I go through the Tenderloin, you know the Tenderloin in San Francisco, you ever heard of it?
I am aware of it. Yes.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
For the uninitiated, it's a crazy place, man.
That's lacking.
Open air drug markets and people. That's where like people talk about San Francisco pissing and shit in the street and all that. That's where it happens. And then like they corner that. Like side note on that, like really get to know that place. Like every corner or every couple corners, it's like you could subdivide the Tenderloin by what drugs get sold and what particular street corners.
Oh, shoot.
Like Golden Gate and Leavenworth, that's pills. But you go over to Hyde Street, that's crack. But then you go up a couple, but like they segregate themselves by what drugs they sell. It's a trip. But like if I go to Tenderloin by myself, nobody fucks with me. But if I bring somebody out there, like the hookers come out, like high-end hookers and the shitty hookers, and like all the drug dealers, they're like, yo, what's up? We're like, how come y'all never hit me up by myself? It's like, what did I do wrong here?
It's like, I want to say no.
Yeah. Like I walk by myself and I'm like, it's not like just like part of the furniture here. So
Right.
like
I want to be on Nancy Reagan and say no to drugs.
Yeah, like on the side of the pinball games, like we talked about earlier. But yeah, man, it's a trip. Like things happen to me differently when I'm with somebody that's from out of town. Even when I'm with my friends and all that, like local cats, like I don't get a lot of it, but like come out with some out of town cats and it's like, oh man, this is what you guys experience in San Francisco. Like I don't get this experience. I see it.
No, man, I think they know that I'm bringing you down here. So they probably think, oh, he brought a friend. He probably wants to enjoy San Francisco.
Yeah.
You want some meth?
Yeah. I had some, oh man, I don't remember if they were friends. I had a
Say
friend.
no drugs, kids.
I have a friend
Say
from
no drugs.
Boise who I know came for a football game once, but then I remember my cousins from here came with some friends for a football game too. Can't remember what trip it was, but like it was like a lot of dudes, and probably because I don't wear khaki pants. These cats who wear the khaki pants and like the flannel shirts that aren't the flannel shirts.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that must be it. That must be the sign.
Oh man.
Like we were at a bar and like one of the dudes was like getting propositioned by this like kind of high end cooker, and I was like, wait a minute.
Like I come here all the time.
I know this place. I've never seen this before.
I said, Dave, you from here, man? You good?
Yeah, you're all right.
It's like we know that you're not coming down here for that.
We know you. You hang out at Free Gold Watch. I've seen you there.
I come in here from time to time, man. You know, I see you doing work.
Man. Yeah, and like the crazy Hate Street people, they leave me alone, but I bring someone from out of town and it's like, it's on. It's like, damn, where'd y'all? Okay.
Like, oh, Dave brought us cups.
Yeah. And then I started wondering, I'm like, wait, am I that guy sometimes too? I don't think I mess with people who aren't from out of town. But then I started, one of my friends came and he was like, man, we were hanging out on H Street and you were just like messing with all those people, dude. You're like, it's my city. And I'm like, I said that? I was like yelling at people on the streets. Oh, damn, I was that guy. But I don't remember that.
It's like, nah, man, it didn't happen. It's like, yeah, it did.
Man, but yeah, man, it's good to be in Juneau for a little bit for sure.
Man.
Get out of the crazy, but it's not a whole lot of craziness. Like, I don't think I want to go back home until there's craziness
No,
again.
I get it, man. Like this place is a little hidden gem.
Yep.
You know, and it's very low key. You know, we have our little close knit group of folks that we hang out with that are safe. Like 4 of them like get tested like weekly.
I've been getting tested.
Yeah. Like, and the city's like really good on just getting access to it. So, you know, it's a good spot to be in, man. So
It was cool meeting you and like the rest of that crew for sure. That's been real good for me. Because I'd just be trapped in my bedroom for like forever.
oh, no, I feel you. That's like the beginning of all this, man. Like, well, I guess the middle of it, like from like May, it was just like nothing. Then like my neighbor, we didn't really know each other that well. We would just be like, oh, hey, we see each other out. Like, hey, how's everything going? Blah, 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 you know? And then all this stuff started kicking down. It's like, get that knock on the door. And it's like, hey, man, you want to drink some wine with me? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I would like that very much. I Steve needs friend. Are you friend?
My mom's got like the wine cellar, but it's only the Costco box wine. But we got it.
Say we have a whole cellar at the house.
Man.
Oh no.
We got racks and racks of Costco wine for sure.
No,
It's good wine.
Smart though. It's smart. It's pandemic proof.
Yep. And then my stepdad works at the brewery too, so like,
Ooh.
man, definitely been getting to enjoy some good beers. Like, he's got a stash of like vintage smoked porters. Like, I pull out like I was here on my birthday, and he pulled out like a 2012 bottle of smoked porter. I was like, yes, I will drink that for sure.
I would like to partake.
What's that?
So I'd like to partake.
Yeah, maybe I might be able to pull a bottle out here. He seems pretty willing to like let me give it to. I sent some I sent a couple bottles. I sent one bottle to my roommate Emily because she's you know what a chicharron is?
Wait. No, what is that?
Like wine's got a sommelier.
That's what I was like. What's the one with wine? Like a sommelier.
Sommelier, but this is for beer.
This is for beer? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
gotcha.
my roommate, like my best friend Emily too, she's a chicharron. Hopefully I'm saying that right. She's gonna kill me.
She's like, that ain't even
That's
close,
not how you
Jack.
say it. It's chicharrone.
It's like, I was like, those are delicious. I know what chicharrone is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely get down on those. But yeah,
have
so
to,
no, he
man.
was
Almost
cool
got
about it. He
time
gave
for
me a
dinner.
couple bottles to like send to her, and then my friend Brian back in New Hampshire, he used to live in San Francisco. He's one of the best pinball players in the world, dude. He's got like trading cards.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, he's won some pretty prestigious tournaments. Played in like the really big international tournament recently.
Yeah.
I sent him a bottle because he's been helping me with school a lot. So he's been pretty. I'll be able to work something out.
Okay.
I'll be able to work something out. He's been pretty giving with that stuff for my friends.
All right.
Man, there's been a lot of people who've been really good to me though lately, man. I just gotta I think that's one good thing about the pandemic's brought out a lot of good in people for sure.
Yeah, man, people have really been like kind of tested, and like, you know, the stress just kind of like put people in a position to either like, you know, find peace, create peace, like create like little social networks where folks can feel safe. But I mean, some people lost their shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just lost it, and it's just like, okay, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Knowing that, man, let's go get some food.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's New
Talking
Year's
about all this
Eve,
food and beer.
and we need to get some food in us.
Happy New Year's to the people.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, everybody. Shout out to all the kids. Shout out to all the kids back home, back in the DMV. Please be safe. Don't do anything crazy tonight.
Shout out to my people in the town who I know are all locked in. All my people in the city who are locked in, I'm sure.
I'm sure folks are going to find a way to get out there and have some fun. But be safe and be responsible, and take care of each other.
All right, then.
All right, man. Night show.
Lately I've been having long nights. I check my phone, baby, asking if I'm alright. I tell her, I see you later, see you all